and you have to have this.
For Israel right now, specifically in Haifa,
in fucking Israel.
Galilee. It's all.
Can't believe this bitch is 100,000 followers.
Over 7%. Sorry, that just kind of popped up in my.
Yeah, markets around the world are coming down.
Whoa, 7?
Yeah, it was down. It was down more than 3 just 15 minutes ago. But Japan and Europe, Asia and Europe are going to be the hardest hit by the oil shock for sure.
That's a proper delayed reaction. There was a week for the market to figure this out, but now they're pushing it here. Like that's a real delayed reaction.
It had losses Friday too, bro. This is cumulative.
Yeah, the markets thought this was going to be short.
Yeah.
The people underestimated the duration. So what's happening is less important than the duration of the disruption. And the system can handle a 10-day disruption, maybe a 14-day. Can't handle a 30-day. And if it goes beyond that, it's really a problem with the systems. They could trap all that oil in the Persian Gulf. You know, the only pipeline out is across the Red Sea, and that's going to do 5 to 7 million barrels, assuming it doesn't get hit in the next few days. I mean, it's a target. So they could
been a target. Hey man, it's been a target for 70 years. Yes, sir. The whole area has been a target. I mean, we've been living with this. Look, you have to expect people are going. The higher the price goes, the lower the price will go. And every energy company executive understands, oh shit, okay, we might win for 3 months. I guarantee you, what's his name? Putin will most certainly sell discounted crude oil in this environment in exchange for long-term contracts on the demand sector.
We were talking before on the prior call, the backwardation is pretty extreme right now. It is about $30, $35 below that. So this really is just a short-term issue in terms of the price, because structurally the market will adapt and can't turn it on overnight. To the extent you need the oil now, it's a problem. And then, you know, just from a pure cost perspective, you can really damage the GCC area in terms of their ability. And this leads back into the whole financial issue around the petrodollar system and how the GCC surpluses have manifested into Western assets. So it's a lot to think through here. I don't have it all figured out for sure, but I think the market is probably underestimating the complexity of what's coming down the pike, as evidenced by the fact that it took Japan about a week to wake up.
Well, Thomas, their current account is strained, right? As they're not able to export nearly as much as they were before. The other way of saying that, again, it's just an accounting reality, right? When we talk about outbound capital or credit to other countries and a trade deficit, it's just two sides of the same thing. And so, you know, if they are not able to export nearly as much, that also means they're not going to be able to have as much outbound capital as might have been pledged, right? Trump talked about the $18 trillion. That was not actual investment. That was pledges of investment. Well, if these countries are, you know, hampered by severe supply chain disruptions, not able to run huge current account service economy, AI data center capex, and investment in new data centers.
And doesn't that feel like a crowded trade to you? Dollars of investment that's ever going to return. You know, maybe a couple plays return, but I don't think it feels a lot like the .com bubble, where the internet was a transformative force, but the firms that were on the 1990s, they all went tits up, right, for the most part. And the real emergent forces happened after 2000. The FANG firms, they really came into their own then. And, you know, it feels a little bit like that's with AI. We don't know how it's going to play out economically. It has a deflationary impact, but I don't think bigger, better data centers is the future of AI. I think it's going to be smaller architecture.
Crude oil prices have surged by over 19%, now trading between 108 and 111, heating oil up 50%, gasoline up 10%, Australia's share market down by 3.7%, and Japan's Nikkei futures plunged by over 7%. So back to you.
1980s. I mean, truly historic moves in oil, and the effect that that'll bring in terms of demand destruction, global recession. That's also interconnected with the AI trade, which ties back to the outbound capital from the Middle East and from the Gulf countries. This is all like, I mean, I hate to be that the meme, like it's all connected, but it really is connected. And Simon was talking about it earlier.
Yeah, that girl Casey, it looks like Iran has crashed the market. What say you?
Yeah, I know he's asking me like the financial stuff. I learned from you guys with the financial talk. I've been listening pretty much all day to you guys. It's good to be back. Real quick, I'm just going to give a plug to retweet the space. You share the space, have your notifications on. If you're on the YouTube, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the notification bell for Suleiman's channel, and please subscribe to Suleiman's channel using the link above. And Simon's head. So yeah, I'm coming and I'm listening to all of this stuff about the market, and I'm not gonna act like I know anything about this, but I am learning. I've learned a lot from you guys because you guys talk about the market in a realistic fashion. So
I mean, we're all getting our asses handed to us right now. So if you're learning from us, you're learning from the broke guys. We're all losing money right now.
But at least you're honest about it, like, and not, you know what I mean? So, like, not to say that's a bright side, but it's still something to, learn from. So, yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin's holding up quite well at 66,000, but I expect we're in for a very sharp crash soon. I don't think that's going to last.
Yeah, look, like Bitcoin is viewed by the market as a high beta, basically, a leveraged tech stock. And so, that kind of stuff is the first thing to get crushed during a recession, during a global recession. So, yeah, I think, look, if you like Bitcoin and you have a longer term time horizon, you're going to get really good buying opportunities coming up. That's the other way of looking at it, because the government will be forced to print even more money than in 2020. I mean, in this sort of, in a vanilla garden variety recession, the fiscal deficit goes to $5 trillion. And private credit is blowing up. That's another $5 trillion. Oh, and the mortgage market is blowing up. That's another $10 trillion. And AI is taking white collar jobs. So you got to fund UBI. Oh, I don't know. It's another couple trillion. Like, you're talking about a boatload of money. So as long as you can kind of keep your head cool, if there are Bitcoiners listening, just have your low time preference. Think out into the future. Don't be levered, right? Because leverage is going to be what wrecks people over the next couple months, in my opinion.
Yeah, commodities were on the verge of breaking up just before the war began. Like gold, silver, commodities, they were literally just about to go to the moon before they stopped. And it's surprising because you'd expect geopolitical risks to send the prices soaring, but yeah, they seem to be like kind of like a holding pattern for now. But I like the guy who spoke before said, there might be faster growing things, but I still would. My personal opinion is that they're still going to outperform this year, in my opinion.
I'm just not going to look at it right now. It's hurting. We got on a couple of stocks. I'm not even going to look. Okay, change the subject.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you served your country. I really appreciate all you shared. You lost your son. I think it's absolutely tragic, and you're like, to go to war. It also has a bottom line impact on your pension. But I think they're going to print their way out of it. But it's crazy, isn't it? As you come to retirement, like, you realise that you're reliant upon these financial institutions, like for all of these moves, and it's like, just bring it back down to reality, isn't it, Andrew?
Yes, absolutely, Simon, absolutely, dear brother, absolutely. Yeah, our
a lot of news coming out in Israel, guys, by the way. A lot in Tel Aviv. There's been like explosions, 12 explosions. The footage coming out is crazy. Also, an Iranian ballistic missile hit a U.S. base, likely the U.S. Fifth Fleet, and Bahrain again. 15 explosions in Tel Aviv following the arrival of cluster warheads from Iran's ballistic missiles. Mentioned it too soon on this place that nothing's going down in Israel.
Okay, keep mentioning it. Hopefully more happens.
The sky over Tel Aviv has been pierced. There seems to be no defense system there. No defense system whatsoever. Guys, there's a lot of footage on Philemon's page. You can go and have a look at it. So yeah. Welcome back. That's
Beatrice, that's fake news on Television on Fire. We spoke to a gentleman this morning in Israel in his car, and he said, "What are you talking about? Everything is just fine." What? And he's like, yeah. And I'm not kidding you. It's like, what? Are you serious? So expect this delusional, so I have to keep pouring in. No, everything's fine. Was anybody in there this morning that heard that?
I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Remember
Not
that?
the guy that Philemon was going mad at because he couldn't answer simple questions.
Yeah, in part, yes. Well, there's another one of them too. It's just nonstop. But he said, and then he started getting angry. He said, "What are you telling me? I'm here. I'm living here." It's like, what are you talking about? You ain't getting hammered? No, we're not. It's fine. People are normally just living a normal life. And see, the thing is, they think we believe that. And thank God for the space, because if we only had Fox News, we'd be going, "Oh yeah, everything's fine." As they continue dog walking us into this destruction,
Yeah, it's pretty wild to watch mainstream media past couple days, and the stunning lack of coverage on actual, impacts in not just Israel, but also, our they're getting through defenses too at bases, whether it be in Bahrain with the Fifth Fleet, another one today, right, or go down the list. So it's pretty stunning to realize that is what the average boomer voter watches. They have no idea.
Yeah, exactly, and this is why people think Bahrain. What's that? They don't even, first of all, you can't find it on a map. Second of all, when you say the Fifth Fleet are in control over that entire region, so what? But what folks don't understand, this is, I know I've repeated it 1,000 times. This is serious. The Navy cannot keep, the United States Navy cannot keep that sea lane open. They cannot keep that sea line of communication open, and everyone's trying to look the other way. But that is a big deal. I'm seeing a major deal here. And only people that are going to speak about this, that come out like Colonel McGregor, he said he's going to say it, and he's always demonized. Anthony Aguilar is going to say it, he's demonized. Scott Ritter, he demonized him. But the very few military analysts will come out and tell the truth. They can't. They won't cross that line. They're terrified because they'll be thrown out of the club.
Yeah, and it's not hating America, right? If anything, at least my motivation is a love for America, right?
Yes.
Deep patriotism. You know what I mean? That part is concerning and disturbing to me.
Yes, I love my country. Are you kidding me? But I love it so much, I want to tell the truth. I don't want to see another Vietnam, another Iraq, and Afghanistan. And again, when you bury your children, literally, and maybe when you bury dear great men and women, you bury them, you see this. Maybe when you see, I've got a very dear friend of mine. He is so, it tore him up so bad psychologically. He's drinking himself to death, and you see this, and you know what? I'm going to speak up. And I'm not going to stop. That's why I'm so wired in, engaged in this. And my dear wife, she's like, "What are you?" Locked in here. And I go, wait, we got to go out. Yeah, okay, let's go take care of it. I got to stay connected because I'm driven by this, obsessed with this. Why? We are at war. We're the psychological part of this war. We're in the front lines. We're manning our positions. I'm serious.
Yeah, I grew up, in high school, I was watching people not much older than me, young men, come home every week in coffins by the hundreds, by the thousands, and that radicalized me. You know what I mean? And I see us repeating the same mistake now. And by the way, it's all for a foreign country that I have nothing to do with, that I frankly don't really care about. And it just makes it even worse that we are spilling blood and treasure yet again for foreign country.
Well,
Amen, brother.
Thanks, Robert. I just want to, guys, welcome Ryan Dawson to the panel. Ryan, shout out to you. I stayed awake to watch your interview with Suleiman early hours of the morning in England. Phenomenal analysis, brilliant interview. If anybody hasn't seen it, go to his YouTube. It's on there. Go to Suleiman's YouTube, which is Suleiman Ahmed X. And the tweet's actually in the nest for his YouTube as well. And you'll see the interview there. Great analysis from Ryan. Ryan, what's your take on what's happening today with the markets and the now recent attack in Tel Aviv?
Yeah, I'm a little bit sick. A little sick today, but yeah, that's why the voice sounds like Vader. It's good. Yeah, as predicted, Haifa is getting swarmed by drones. They're getting pounded. Power outage outside Tel Aviv. Just it's actually in the eastern part of Lebanon. If you went northwest of Damascus from Syria, so. What they did is they went in from Syria and went from the east. They didn't start in southern Lebanon and reach that high, but they shot it down. Hezbollah has the capacity to do that. IDF soldiers are captured again. This is a different incident than yesterday, where they got 3 of them. The U.S. is 100% hiding its casualties. So is Israel. You don't have hotels full of CIA hit with no wounded, no dead. I do not believe the air defense systems hit those F-15s 3 times. Now that we have 2 more that have been tagged, it seems like the Iranian defense, another one they said Qatar defense systems hit one. Really, our best anti-air defense is Kuwait and Qatar, huh? No, they're just called casualty laundering is what they're doing. It's not going well for the empire. They bombed a lot of infrastructure in Iran, made some impressive looking big fireballs, but it doesn't really move the needle battlefield wise. They don't have an answer to these drones or missiles, and now you have these MIRVs that people call cluster bombs, but I think MIRV is more accurate. They don't have an answer. There seems to be some sort of new plasma weapon too. Iran has a perfect plan here. My only worry is how long will these victories last before the De Gaulle and the Bush come? You have 2 more carriers coming. Those things are a problem. They don't have an answer for those other than to just take it on the chin. But, yeah, the ammo problems continue in the markets. I think what happened was a lot of speculators thought it's okay. In a few days, this will all be done and, they'll reopen the strait and blah, blah, blah. Now they're projecting months of war and people are panicking. And so they are adapting, which means it's not good for UAE, not good for any of these Gulf states. And Bahrain continues to get destroyed. They will not be able to use that 5th Fleet dock whatsoever. Oman is basically tapped out. I think Bahrain is next. The Kuwaiti airfield's kaput. It's the Gulf Arabs that are taking it the worst. Haifa will continue to get hit today and tomorrow, and Dimona is next. But it's going to be while taking out that northern port in Israel, and all they seem to be able to do is lie. They're just like, oh, look, the ballistic missiles are fewer today than before. They're not in total. They shot fewer at Israel because they shot more at the Gulf states. And really, it doesn't matter. Your THAAD systems, 2 of those are out. Your biggest radar is out. Your 2 biggest radar are out now. They're blind, and I think that's why they're swinging blindly at targets. And I think that's why they can't. Their interception rate is lower, not only because they physically have lower missiles to shoot in lower numbers, they can't pick it up at as long of a range, so they're having to react with a shorter reaction time. And then with the drones from Hezbollah, they don't have time to react whatsoever. I mean, going from Lebanon to Haifa is a very quick trip. they can't seem to figure out where they are. And the Israeli army is too timid to go in the hills and do what they need to do and stomach the casualties and root them out. So what will they do? They'll continue to kill civilians in Beirut and Tehran. Like, okay, fine. But that's not helping them win the battle at all.
And this is happening without anything going on in the Red Sea. Like, imagine if that naval choke point starts to have problems. I can't even imagine.
Well, they also lost the fort temporarily while it was going through the Suez Canal and out the Red Sea. So, that window. Iran has pulled the perfect play. They don't have a substantial navy, but they have land turrets, which can help close the strait. They don't have a substantial air force, but that's okay, because they made up for it by all these underground missile silos and drones. Cannot praise drones enough. And it's weird because I used to be like, when drones first came out in warfare, I was like, oh, how cowardly, but now I'm cheerleading them because they're hitting the side I don't like. But those things are effective. And it's amazing why the U.S. and Israel, at least after watching how effective these were in the war of Russia and Ukraine, why they didn't invest in these. But it's driven by profiteering. So Lockheed Martin's like, why not do it now? We want to build that system. We want to build these things. And like, yeah, those are fancy and they work a few times. But how many do you have? Exactly. And they just went with whatever had the most bells and whistles, and that was the most effective. Now, they did build Reapers. That's for reconnaissance and intelligence. ISR, they call it. 3 of those were shot down. Now, each Reaper, this is the MQ-9 Reapers, they are $100 million each. So that's $300 million that went up in smoke. And the reason they're looking for these locations of ballistic missiles that are completely underground, and people saw those videos of missiles that just went right out of the dirt, and that video is 10 years old. Iran's been able to do that. That's not a new development. It's new to them because they don't know what's going on, but it's not new to us who covered the Syrian war and kind of autistic about weapons and stuff. But like, this is something they should have known. Even analysts are like, oh my God, you see these new? I think these aren't new. These are not new. These are a decade old, and they're all over the place, and they're in the mountains too. Good luck finding that. Now, Reaper, if we find it, but they've got dirt on top of them and like very thin little roofs that they just blast out the silo. They aren't going to be able to get these quick enough, if at all, without the nuclear weapons. The 82nd Airborne is going to northern Iraq. I don't know what they think they're going to do. But if they go into Iran, into those mountains, a lot on both sides are going to die. But I don't know, Trump just is like, oh, we're doing so well. We sank a ship off Sri Lanka that wasn't even armed. We blew up a school full of girls. Oh, no, he didn't say that. He said Iran must have hit their own school. But if you look at the aerial photographs, all the other buildings are hit dead center, including the school. They did it on purpose. We are terrorists. Our government is terrorist.
And Ryan, the target assessor that did before they launched that Tomahawk, they said, well, that girls' school was was a Navy, Iranian naval building, but that was 8-10 years ago. So I don't buy it that they didn't know.
I think they're using AI, and it doesn't work. Wow, that's what I think. Because what's the point in a girls' school? Like, that's your own side's gonna go, ooh, right at the onset. I think their intelligence isn't good. It's not up to date. I don't believe that was a naval school anyway. At elementary school, everything's like low to the floor, whatever. It was near some IGRC buildings, but so what? It was clearly a school, and they hit it dead center. It was on purpose. It's like when they said a Hamas rocket misfired and landed on their own hospital court. And it's like, no, it's a JDAM. It's on film. You got audio evidence, visual evidence. That was what Israel did that one. And they blamed it on Hamas. It's the same play. They're going to lie.
Yep, over and over again. Ryan Robert was mentioning, and I've been really watching the Red Sea there after the Suez Canal with that forward battle group coming through there. The Houthis, your call, they going to show their hand here, or what do they do? Because that's getting in their wheelhouse there.
I doubt it, because it's a carrier. What are the Houthis going to do? They have stated if Saudi Arabia enters the fray, then so will they. But the Ford could go down there at 1 mile an hour. There's nothing they could do to it. I'm big on carriers. I mean, it's just like it's a floating airport. Your speedboats and rockets can't do anything. It'll be there. It'll be a fat target, easy to hit, but it won't do any damage. So why bring that hell on yourself and have because they'll bomb civilians in Yemen too. They don't care. So I would advise them to stay out of it.
If they get involved, it would be catastrophic for markets, for global trade. It would be unbelievably bad.
Well, if they close the Macabre Strait, they're them. Mandab, yeah, I know my throat is fucked. If they scream Macabre, that's a Freudian slip, ain't it? That's how I feel. Everything's macabre. Yeah, between Somalia and Aden, if they were to close that too, that'd be harder for the Houthis to pull off. But the shipping lanes are the arteries of trade, and man, it's bad here. I mean, Korean stock markets are the head. I was wrong the other day when I said Japan had 100 days of oil reserves. It's actually 250 days. It's pretty equivalent to China. However, Japan imports 72% of its oil for the Persian Gulf. So, not good for them.
Ryan, can you talk to how long you think the duration of the conflict in its current state, meaning that basically the Gulf is shut down? If I said that is the metric, talk about the duration and how you think it plays out. I mean, at some point,
well, it's
3 days.
No, it's going on longer than that. When you say at the current state, it's unlikely that it will stay at the current state. So you're like, well, if it's at this pace, how long can it go? It's kind of odd because I think the pace will change. You're seeing more carriers coming. You're seeing Hezbollah more activated, so the pace is picking up. But the U.S. they're going to run out of defensive missiles soon, and places like India that has about 8 days left of oil reserve, they're going to panic. They're going to put pressure. I mean, that's the largest country on earth, population-wise, for something to give. I mean, they're allowing Chinese ships out. And Iran can be like, oh, we can allow this through if that's the negotiation. But no, this war can go on all summer. Like, Iran has enough ammo, and so does the U.S. The U.S. doesn't have its standoff ammo. They're going to run out of that. JDAMs, they could do that all year, unfortunately. Israel, not so much. But really, this is Israel's war that the Americans are fighting. They could go on all summer. I don't think it will, because I think the economic kick is tariffs related, yes, because they have the capacity, both sides, to go on for months and months, but not at this pace. Iran can pretty much keep up this pace. The U.S. cannot. They could have more ships. They have more things they're not even using. They can send in. They can start using ATACMS. They have some cards they haven't played. Iran is pretty reliant on that eye in the sky from China, and China's like, guys, knock it off. Like, they're already pretty angry about that's why I think their ships are being allowed through. But their intelligence ships just sitting there floating around, and nobody's going to touch it. You think the U.S. is going to hit a Chinese ship? Like, if Iran was smart, falsify that, and bring China into the war. No, they can't. But China can say, look, they're not going to cut it off. They can't allow Iran to fall. So, yeah, I see this going on till June. I wish it would end sooner. I wish they'd just hurry up and burn all of Israel. But
it feels like Trump this past week said, use the term for that, it's going to go 4 weeks, right? I don't think the markets, when this started 8 or 9 days ago, I don't think the market thought that. I thought they thought it would be a 5 or 6 day thing, and the Venezuela thing probably created a bad paradigm in people's minds. And I think one time,
and the 12-day war. They're like, oh, that was only 12 days.
Yeah.
So let's say 5 to 12 days, whether just like last time or something. And so they're all hoping, like, oh, well, the strait will be reopened once the war ends, and the war will be end in the end of the month or something like that. They hoped. But look, everything in Iran, like, there's no significant, like, military targets that are being destroyed. The most things in Iran that have been destroyed is their own missiles when they run into buildings, and their drones when they hit Tel Aviv and Bahrain and Kuwait. Like, their whole army's there. Some boats have been sunk, whatever. They never had a significant navy anyway. The land turrets are all in place. They haven't been able to find them. They can't reopen the strait. They talked about sending escorts, but they haven't done it. If they do that, those ships will get sunk because they can't put the big boats in there. It's too shallow. And, really, Iran can destroy anything other than a carrier. Like, they can destroy a destroyer. They can. They have torpedoes and things for that. It won't be easy, but they can do it.
Yeah, but also the one danger with the carrier, though, Ryan, and that one, you don't have to sink the carrier. It's just if you could take out the rudder system. Remember the Bismarck, you can cripple it, and that'll just basically render it capable, as you know. So
it's not like the Bismarck. You couldn't do that. You can take out its support ships, and if they can't refuel, if they can't get food, if they can't resupply ammo, but they still have the flight deck for all the electronic warfare and obviously the fighter jets and bombers. But it's not as simple as, like, I know you are correct about the Bismarck. Like, that was the German super ship. And, big waste of money, in my opinion. They should have made more U-boats. U-boats were the most effective thing they had.
U-boats, bro.
Yeah. They sank so many merchant marine ships. They're all over where I used to live in Hatteras Island. They just find the debris from
the catapult system, and the ship doesn't sink, but becomes inoperable as a flight deck.
Good luck reaching it. They're out of range. I mean, it's you can try and get them with a purge lawnmower. It's just gonna get whacked with a rail gun. Like, I guess if they were all asleep or something, you could do it. But it's just not realistic.
Fair enough.
The only real thing we have is submarines. That's the ultimate, honestly. I mean, we talk about that.
I agree. Subs and mini subs too. And you know what? The U.S. has very good sub fleet.
Yes, sir. Again,
but again, they can only fire it so many times, and then what? Because they're not going to Bahrain, they're not going to Cyprus. So what? Diego Garcia? Like, where do they restock?
Well, we resupply. We have to resupply out of whenever we went into a port. We would just 2:00 in the morning. We just do a vertical surface, extensive. We never pull in ports. They won't do that. They can't do that. That's not our doctrine.
Just breaking real quick, there's a lot of sirens going off and loud explosions all over Doha.
Ryan, a quick question. You said that the carriers come in were a threat to Iran, but they have to also stand off, right? Because the Iranian missiles could attack them, including maybe not a carrier, but these other ships. What has more range? Planes launched off a carrier that has to stand off, or the missiles that could attack them from Iran?
The planes. And it's not because they have to stay out of range of missiles. They have to stay out of range of shallow water and missiles. But, yeah, the planes can go, do sorties, come back, and you can't touch them unless you catch them while they're over Iran. And they have hit some F-15s. I think they hit an F-18, but all the stealth stuff is just pretty much hitting whatever it wants. But
it's a stealth stunt in theater. It's a stealth stunt in theater.
Yeah, it's in theater. They use that to carve a path to Iran. That's why it's on fire. But there's F-35s, for example. Those are stealth. They're hitting things. But, the payload of each of these, you just can't bomb your way out of a country the size of Western Europe with 90 million people. Like, you can't win this just with the air. You'd have to send an army, and they're not going to do that. So what they're trying to do is destroy Iran's ability to do offense, get rid of those ballistic missile systems and drones, and they can't find them. And when you're over there, they can't just sit there and circle. They don't have that level of air supremacy. So they're losing. I mean, casualty-wise, they've killed more people, but it's mostly civilians. And they're burning through their gear. Now, actually, I got Larry Johnson on in 20 minutes, so I'm going to go prep for that. But, yeah, more carriers are coming. Anyone, don't pretend like that's not a problem. It's a problem. I know they're like, well, it's French. Okay. I don't dog on the French like everyone else. Like, the France is a pretty strong military. That is, the De Gaulle is a legit carrier. The Ford is the largest carrier. It's bigger than the Lincoln. That is a problem. But it's not going to be enough. Tel Aviv, the way that Israel's getting hit, like, that's their baby. That's the whole reason they're having this war. And things are just cutting through like a knife through butter. And it's just the geography. They don't have a lot of cities. They don't have a lot of land. They cannot stomach these hits the way Iran can. So that's why they're doing stuff like going after distilleries and oil and all, because they can't find the ballistic missiles. And Iran's doing it back with Saudi Arabia today.
With Israel's inability to defend themselves, particularly against missiles and these drones, this go on until June. If there's no way for even an enhanced carrier force to inhibit Iran's launching of their large missile supply.
Well, I'm assuming eventually they'll start finding some of them, but I'm thinking more of a war in Lebanon. Like, Israel wants to annex land where their army's going in. We don't really know the strength of Hezbollah, but that could go on for months. And yeah, Israel looks, you get hit with drones, it's the same thing I just said. Even though they're much smaller than Iran, it is an air war. Like, you can probably bomb your way out of a country the size of Bahrain because it's so tiny. But Israel does intercept some, and drones don't have a big payload. They hit, you blow it, they repair it. They can clean stuff up and fix things, but things that you can't repair are things like the $1 billion radar in Qatar that got smashed. A lot of things that are getting broken in Israel are fixable. The whole point is just to close the port so they can't resupply, and it chokes their economy. They're not losing like barracks full of soldiers or anything yet, but that will come as they get depleted on defense.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ryan.
Like, hey, come over to my Substack later and watch the Larry Johnson interview. And then I have one with Sullivan.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. That was awesome.
Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if you didn't see Ryan's interview with Lamont earlier this morning, please do go and watch it. It was brilliant. Appreciate you, Ryan.
Sullivan and I have another one in like 5 hours. We're doing another one. Like, I'm coming back right now because I'm like, I have to say this all again anyway. So we're going to do a war update later today.
Look forward to it, Ryan. Look forward to it. And do you know what? 5 hours time is going to be 5 a.m. here. It's just gone 12:30 at night, and I'll stay awake for that because last night's one was brilliant. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I want to give some breaking news quickly, guys. Qatar's Ministry of Interior urges residents to stay indoors due to an elevated security threat. An elevated security threat, I guess, from Israel. Iran fires a new wave of missiles towards Israel. We know that already, and there's more. There's more just been fired. Lindsey Graham's making a lot of statements today. He's made statements about the deceased soldiers that have come back from America. I can read that out to you, but basically it's like you gave your life for the country, and there's going to be more of this to come, kind of underlying terms of it. Let me just have a look what else there was. Hegseth maintains that Trump will set the terms of Iran's unconditional surrender and that they will surrender and that they will combat ineffective. They will be combat ineffective. So Hegseth saying that on the record. Sirens and explosions in Doha, Qatar. Sirens and loud explosions, it says, in Doha, Qatar. What time is it there now? 3:30 in the morning over there now. And just in case you missed it, guys, there've now been officially reported 8 casualties so far, 8 deceased from the American Army, 1 from Saudi Arabia was announced earlier on today, and 1 from Kuwait. CENTCOM said that a National Guard soldier died in health-related incident in Kuwait on March the 6th during a medical emergency. Exact cause of death is under review. So that's sad news coming out of America. Sirens in Bahrain. There are sirens in Bahrain as well. Hegseth is giving interviews as we speak. He maintains the US has been in control the whole time. And he says the US is fighting for US interests. So America's fighting for its own interests, and America's been in control of this the whole time. The Iraqi resistance in Iraq has shared images and released scenes of the targeting of the Muafaq airbase in Jordan. Yeah, I think I'll pause there. Oh, this is Lindsey Graham's one. He says Iranians will be liberated. He called. Oh, I did read that one out actually, and then there was another one, but I'll just forego that. Thanks. Yeah, it's good of Ryan. I always appreciate his insight. Oh, we lost Robert as well. Oh, shame. I was enjoying that discussion. Genghis, go ahead. Thanks for joining.
How you going, guys? Yeah, it's really Iran's war to lose, isn't it? If you look at it tactically, they're playing it perfectly. They got their cards close to their chest. You know, the weapon systems that the Americans really want to find so they can take them out. Iran is refusing to show them to them. So America's bombing civilian targets to try and bait Iran up in the mountains there. 600,000 military strong to reveal their positions and, you know, let rip with these missile systems, but Iran's refusing to take the bait because they've got the trap set beautifully and they're waiting for the ground invasion. So if you're wondering what a victory for Iran looks like, it looks like this. They're not concerned about the B-52s and all of these, stealth fighters or any of that nonsense. They just need one really good victory right at the start that will come if America dares any kind of ground invasion, whether they parachute guys in or whether they attack from the outside of the mountain range. Once they start that ground assault, it will be huge and it will have to be supported by their close air support aircraft like Apache gunships and A-10 close support fighters, and even some F-16s as well, ground attack F-16s. They've already proven that they can shoot down F-15s, and because they can shoot them down, then that means that all these other close air support planes that fly way lower will just be, like shooting fish in a barrel for them. So if America launches a ground assault, Iran could take out their air support, and then they can pound those ground troops from the tops of the mountains, from their fortresses and their missile sites that America doesn't know where they are. So it's perfect. They only have to do that once. It only has to happen once. They just got to turn that ground assault around and get America to retreat, and it's over. America will not be able to come back again. They won't have the stomach. The American people won't have the stomach to see them go back in and try it again. And then where are we at? America realizes that. That's why you've seen the rhetoric starting to be questioned, where you've got the spokeswoman for the White House talking about drafting Americans. We're not ruling out the draft. Why would they possibly need to talk about the draft of American citizens? Because there's a huge chance if we try to assault, into those mountains, that we'll be defeated. If we try and launch an air assault, an airborne, the moment you fly paratroopers into the center of that country, you immediately need to support them with Apaches and A-10s. And as soon as they get into that fishbowl, it's over. So I think, I have no emotional connection to an outcome in it. I'm just looking at it purely as from a strategic viewpoint as a retired military guy. And as far as I can see, Israel is just they're playing their cards. They're playing the game wonderfully, and America is kind of along with Israel, scratching their heads, going, "What can we do here?" If you look at it from the outside, it looks like they bombed that school deliberately. If they did bomb it deliberately, not just bomb it once, but bomb it twice, that is a provocatory attack to try and draw the Iranians' missile systems out, right? If we bomb a school, will you wheel them out of the mountains and give away the positions? What if we bomb the school twice? Come on, take the bait. And Iran's just refusing to do it. And it won't work. Bombing civilians never works. All it does is harden the hearts of the soldiers up in the mountains. They'll just fight 2 times, 3 times as hard as they would have before once they know you're attacking the civilians. That's my take on it so far. I think Iran is in the box seat. They've already won. It's their victory to lose, and they'll only lose it by doing the wrong thing and allowing themselves to be provoked into something they don't need to do. And I don't think they will. Frankly, I think they're way too crafty at defending that mountain fortress country for decades to fall into that trap. That's all I got. Thank you so much for the mic.
Thanks, Angus. I appreciate it. So Japan's Nikkei 225 has lost over 350 billion, not million, billion in market value so far just today. There's absolute chaos in Israel. A mayor and his deputy was shot by a gunman inside a restaurant in northern Israel. It's literally falling apart. The new leader of the IRG
is falling apart. Japan's market.
It is, isn't it?
Japan's market's lost 350 billion so far.
Oh my God! Please tell me, Adam, you did that deliberately. Oh my gosh. I'm really beginning to think we've got literally a divide in this space. Gender divide and gender apartheid. Okay, gender apartheid, exactly. So the new leader of the IRGC is Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini's son, and this leader, Syed Mujtaba Khamenei, that's his name. He lost his father, obviously, we know that, last week, Saturday, his mother, his wife, his son, his niece, his nephew, his sister, and his brother-in-law this week. That's who America and Israel have killed in his family this week. Look. There's a lot of news coming out, guys. I'm just going through it. High security alert in Doha. There's a high security alert in Doha. Yeah, I've seen, let me just have a look what else is going down. The new president that's been elected for Iran, Mujtaba Khamenei, said that he heralds a new era of dignity and strength. Also, more market news, guys. Samsung Electronics share price plunged by over 8.5% in today's trading. Over 8.5% in today's trading. Exet says that the president hasn't ruled out boots on the ground to avoid alerting the enemy to the US limitations. So boots on the ground is an option, I guess. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to be able to send any Americans there. And internal sources have confirmed that the US military plans to deploy soldiers to Iran at some point, though the scope is unclear. Interesting.
Imagine the resolve the Iranian people will get from that guy being selected, Beatrix. He hasn't just lost his dad, but he's lost all of his family as well. That's going to be something.
Hey everybody, was that silent? Or is my mic not working?
No, Simon, I was hoping you'd come back and bring some mics. I can't see mic requests.
If anyone could hear us.
Yeah,
Adam, can you hear me?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Simon, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you, yeah. I don't know about the audience, but I think the panel can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear Simon.
I don't think
He's on mute right now.
Yeah, but I don't think he can hear us. Simon can hear us. Yeah, he's glitched.
Yeah, I've never had today 10, 12 times happen to me to get kicked out.
It's only this space, Andrew. It's only this space. We crashed earlier. They botted it. Well, you were here, weren't you? They botted it. I said we just got 1,200 bot. Put bot attack in the title, and they bought it so that they can make it crash. What happened half an hour later? We crashed.
Right. Hey, yeah, exactly. Hey, Genghis, real quick, from your contacts, your experience, your knowledge, what's your call? What are they actually? The United States going to do the unthinkable and actually send in any manner of ground boots on the ground, any ground troops?
No, I can only re-emphasize what I said before. They cannot do it with those missile systems in place. They're going to get pounded unless they can draw them out. We're just going to see this stalemate go on and on and on. And I really meant it when I said it is Iran's victory to lose. They've already won. As long as they can just sit there and grind America down and grind Israel down and keep flying out those really cheap drones, that it's only going to end one way, and it's going to end with them winning. Or they nuke them. But even then, they still win because they'll be retaliatory strikes from them and other countries that support them if Israel or America nukes them. But yeah, I can't. There's no way you can do it, Andrew. You can't get paratroopers in there. You can't go into the mountains with heavy. You're going to need hundreds of thousands of troops to do it, and those hundreds of thousands of troops will need close air support, and that close air support aircraft will be shot from the sky like nothing. Like once you start bringing on, multi-million-dollar A-10s, but more importantly, Apache gunships. Once they start bringing them down, you'll see America will slow down real fast if they can shoot them down, and I've got no doubt they can. Then once you bring them down, then air superiority disappears.
Yeah, I agree.
Then it's just a battle of small arms, and who's in the prepared position, who's got the high ground, who's got the positions of strength, and the bunkers already done. Iran has. They've been waiting for decades. There's no way you can possibly win. What America's trying to bait out of them is they're trying to bait out those locations so they can fly their stealth planes in and drop those Moab bombs, the ones that really dig down. But you know what? They're super expensive bombs, and you can't just drop them anywhere. You've got to find the exact locations of where the missile systems are. And Iran is just too smart. They're not going to get baited out with bombing the civilian population. That's provocatory. It's not serving any purpose whatsoever to fly into the middle of Iran and just start randomly bombing schools and whatever else they're hitting. It's to try and bait those missile systems out so they can take them out. And I just can't see it. And from, what Beatrice just said about the guy that's replacing the Ayatollah, his son, that, once the Iranians hear that guy is the man that's taking the place of his father, that is going to just stiffen their spine so much, because he'll be a guy that they will look at and go, he is, he's not some elitist that isn't suffering. He's shared our pain. He's lost family members. He's going to stand there and lead us now. That's exactly the type of war leader that you need. Maybe they even look at him in an even more, they have even more faith in him than they did in his father, because of the people he's lost already. They didn't. If they tried to break the back of the Iranian people by taking out his dad, my goodness, they made a serious mistake. But
I agree.
To conclude, I don't see a ground that they will not invade with ground troops unless they can take out those missiles, and Iran is too smart to give them to them.
Plus, there's no amphibious surge. I see none of our amphibious forces coming in to set the beachhead, the Marines and all that. But I've seen from my knowledge of it. But hey, let me ask you a question. Do you know why would they have the 82nd Airborne mobilizer unless I've heard misinformation?
Yeah, I think they're just bluffing. I think, I don't know whether you heard me last time I came on, but I said, it was about deception, and you know that better than anyone as a submariner. It's all about deception. It's about, the generals. If you're weak, you try and appear as if you're strong. And if you're strong and you're in a position of strength, you try and appear as if you're weak. And you've got both sides doing exactly that. Iran is absolutely, in the back seat. They're in the driver's seat, but they are doing their best to appear as if they're weak. They're not firing away all their best missile systems. They're just sitting there playing possum, because they're trying to bait the Americans into a ground invasion. And the Americans know that. And they can see the entire world looking at them going, what's going on? How come you aren't invading like you did in Iraq? What's happening? How come you're not taking out all these missile systems like you did in Iraq? What's stopping you doing this? We're waiting for the shock and awe, President Trump, like George W. unleashed on Baghdad and all those targets. You've got the same planes. How come you can't do it? Why aren't you guys going in there? They know that the world's looking at them going, what's America afraid of right now? Why isn't this place being reduced to rubble? What are they so scared of? So you then have Trump going, well, we can't have that. We've got to appear as if we're strong. So let's pull out the 101st Airborne and let's act and, let's just talk a big game and pretend that we can literally fly 100,000 paratroopers into the center of Iran and just, get them to jump out the back of planes that'll only be a few thousand feet in the air. As if, if you can take out an F-15, imagine what they can do to those craft that the C-130s and everything else that the paratroopers jump out of. My goodness. They're just going to be coming down like shooting ducks on a lake. So easy for them to take them out. If they, what else do they got? They're going to jump out the back of Chinook helicopters. Same thing. Any aircraft that you jump paratroopers out, like in big numbers. I'm not talking about halo jumps. Some of you would have seen in movies where the special forces guys get up super high above the clouds. And they jump out and they jump out with oxygen, and they do what's called high altitude, low opening jumps. It's something that they do. They free fall most of the entire way down they use oxygen, but it's only for getting in really small elite groups of guys.
Guys, Beatrix, Simon, you there?
Yes.
I'm here, yeah. It looked like you got kicked.
To me, it looked like everyone went to listener. I'm the only speaker on my screen, so.
Yeah, we're being attacked, people. So if everyone can reshare this space and like and comment, the engagement helps. We're being attacked. Okay, I'll try and find him again. That was Genghis, right? Genghis, you got booted out. It wasn't us. If you want to put your hand up and continue, then I'll let you back up. Oh, there he is.
I got punted. Sorry.
They're trying to miss.
What's the reality?
Yeah, bro. Start over. Just play again. I'll play serious. I'll focus. I don't suck that much, bro.
Hey, what did you do?
Me, I babysat my friend's twins. Then I went to yoga earlier.
Good time.
Yeah, it was a good time though.
Yeah.
much that we're gonna last a day?
Maybe a couple days, but nothing more than that.
I think he's dead though.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think they're gonna show him ever, and he's gonna be like a 12th, a Shiite prophet that never.
I'm worried that they're gonna. I'm worried that that they are negotiating an exit plan for them.
No.
But I don't think Israel will let them.
No. There is no exit plan. Not at all. Don't even think about it, because he's just like his dad. Nothing gonna change. They're not gonna fool himself.
No, like for them to go to Russia.
That would be great. The IRGC would collapse. Then the IRGC would collapse when they realize there's no one protecting them.
I'm watching this Iranian woman cook something in her backyard.
No. I'm doing around the world to stabilize my core.
That's so much more productive than what I'm doing. I'm watching food. You're burning calories from food. There's a difference. Wow, this looks so yummy. This zeytun parmante. Love olives. Oh, Shani. Seth, you never sent me the second one. The follow-up song.
Okay, wait.
They kill white people, and that's very sad. And that's very sad. I made it a child. I know. What's up? Let me see, who is this talking? Mo Money.
Yes, ma'am.
Mohammed.
Oh, hey, Mo. Oh, Mo, you're the guy that's really smart. We've had intellectual conversation.
No, I'm pretty slow, but we spoken.
You're Somali.
We were talking when I was in Saudi Arabia, I think.
Yeah. South Africa, Saudi.
Yeah, you were with me. Everything. Did you see my snap?
I have horrible memory, but I probably viewed it.
You saw me in Saudi and stuff, though.
Yeah. You look incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, Yasmin's one of my best friends. So Mo's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Hello. Where are you from?
Chittenden County, Vermont.
No idea where that is. Vermont. That's East Coast, right?
Are you American? Yeah.
Canadian.